It's time for To the Max Sports, where we talk about sports. They're just two guys, Max and Drew, in a bar talking all things sports. Well, without the bar. And the beer. Wait, why aren't we in the bar?
And you're good.
Hello, and welcome to the Flying Whipper Production Studios, just a cannonball shot away from the world famous Alamo.
Oh my God!
Downtown San Antonio, Texas.
Talking about the Alamo, they're on Monday, Houston Street, the one that abutted the restaurant that got closed, and the state took it back.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to be permanently closed. That street, Houston Street, from Broadway to Alamo.
Yeah, I heard that. So if you're visiting the Alamo, you're going to I think they're trying to get rid of the cheesy kind of shops and vendor stuff. And
and build a tourist center. And we're apparently going to get 1 million additional tourists here every year. My advice to anyone listening on this, if you are coming to San Antonio to visit the Alamo, visit the Alamo. But if that is the only mission you visit, you do not deserve the Alamo, and you should not come to our state. Go visit another mission.
And if you do come to our state in the next couple of years, you might find a minor league baseball team downtown, and there's whisperings of a new stadium already where the Institute of Cultures is located.
Oh, yeah, that's
knocking down that building.
Yeah, the arena.
Just two cannonball shots away from here.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Institute of Texan Cultures is going away. It is going to be demolished. It is old and crusty. Near the Crockett Hotel is where it's going to be rebuilt as part of this whole complex, and that's allegedly where the Spurs are going to go.
So, guys, if you're ever in the area, we have an open invitation. Have a hot sports opinion. You can sit right beside me. If you're ever in San Antonio, reach out to me and Bob. That's any of our listeners. As always, hit that like and subscribe button.
So if you come to San Antonio and the only mission you visit is Alamo, I don't want you here.
You heard that first from Bob. Send your notes to Bob.
Okay.
So, Bob, I've been in sunny South Florida for the last couple of weeks, and during that time, with the 4th pick of the NBA draft, the San Antonio Spurs select.
Not you.
What am I doing?
I don't know. Apparently you can't figure out the headphones. They're not that difficult.
They select Andrew Moeller.
No.
No, I got selected 8th once. I think it was in the YMCA.
Dodgeball League?
I got selected right before the guy with the lazy eye and the slight limp. The kids.
Well, yeah.
The 4th pick, Stefan, however you want to say it, Castle, out of UConn. What are your thoughts and opinions on that, Brother Bob?
Well, I mean, we need somebody in those positions. To be honest with you, I am actually more excited about bringing Chris Paul in.
The 39-year-old Chris Paul?
Yes, for a couple reasons. One, he's at his point in his career. I'm not excited about him coming in as a player. I'm excited about him coming in as someone to help Wemby in his progression as an all-star NBA player, which Wemby will become. Someone to help him out on that trajectory. And it's quite frankly, it's Chris Paul's internship for coaching.
Bobby stole the thunder from me. I think Pop gave him a call and said, listen, I need you as a player, and I'm going to need you as a coach on the bench too.
Yeah.
So I think it's a coaching audition. I think it's a brilliant move. I think it's a smart move for Paul. He's coming in. You take away Zach Collins, who I really don't consider a basketball player. He's 27. Chris Paul's 39. The rest of that team is 25 years old or younger.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, and you draft Stefan Castle out of UConn, and now he's got a Chris Paul to kind of guide his early progress.
Yeah, I like Castle in many ways. The Spurs are getting a guy who's going to give you really good defense. He's 6'6", so he's your prototype today's NBA guard. He's got the size and the length. Mm-hmm. There are some question marks about his three-point shooting and shooting in general, but you know what? If you're going to land with a team that you want to improve your shooting on, you've picked the perfect team, and you got the perfect team with the Spurs because they develop players. And now with a future all-star and Chris Paul mentoring you, not rushing you into the system. Paul's probably going to get 20 to 22, 23 minutes a game.
I'd be surprised if he got that much, to be honest with you.
I really think he will. I think he'll be your starting guard when the season opens. Yeah. And then you got Trey, you got Trey Jones, who's a very capable guard, not probably starting guard quality, although the Spurs are exponentially better when he played guard. The Jeremy Socon experiment didn't work out, but having Trey Jones then come off the bench to relieve Paul and still keep that offense running on all cylinders.
Yeah.
Is this team going to win an NBA championship?
Not next year.
As constructed now, no. But we're definitely going to be in the playoffs next year. I don't see how we can't not get a 7th or 8th seed, realistically. Now you've got the development. You got Vassell's got another year under his belt. Sohan, you got a NBA-ready point guard in Castle. You've got Chris Paul. You got Wemby with a year under his belt. I would like to see us pick up some maybe a veteran center.
Okay.
I think we're still a little weak in that area.
Okay.
And then when the 8th pick, they took Rob Dillingham, who, has a lot of potential. Smallish by today's guard, 6 foot, 6'1"ish. They've thrown out the AI comparisons out there to him. And you know what? He may eventually become an AI. I very much doubt it. He may be a Ja Morant. But you got to go pretty doggone deep to find players of that size that are going to be game changers. And to trade him to Minnesota, which is inconceivably a win mode now, for 5-6 years down the road, getting a number 1, 2 number 1s for a number 8, 6'1" guard that was picked 8th in what is generally considered to be a weak draft, genius move.
Yeah, I mean, but at some point we have to stop amassing all this draft capital and just do something.
Well, we got 3 picks next year. Next year is generally regarded as a very, very strong draft. And I like the fact that the Spurs are being patient. If you look over the history of the NBA, some of these NBA players, Jordan, I believe, was in his 7th or 8th season. These 2 kids that won in Boston, both of them are like in their 7th or 8th season.
No, it takes a while.
And when they take a look at most of these, players that finally got their title, generally you're looking at, 6, 7, 8 years in. And typically the reason why is because you got drafted by a team that wasn't very good. Now, the Spurs have an amazing stockpile of draft picks. What I don't want them to do is panic and get like this guy out of Utah they're talking a lot about, and I'll probably mess his name up, Laurie Macaron, but anyway, there's a lot of chatter about him, but, do you really want to get a player of his caliber, 23 points a game, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and give up 3 or 4 draft picks and a Kelvin Jones? I don't think so. I just think you're giving up too much. Now, if the right opportunity presents itself, like I think the Minnesota one did, where you're giving up an 8th pick for 2 future number 1s, because you got to remember what they're doing with Wemby. We still got money to get free agents in the next couple years, which is a great way to improve your team. But also, as Wemby gets older, we're filling in draft picks as they come along.
No, I get it. I mean, I get it. And I said a couple weeks ago to a friend, it's like the Spurs need to work on the now, but also need to be laying the foundation for the long term. Assuming that Wemby tracks every other rookie coming out of their rookie deal, and no rookie coming out of the rookie deal hasn't failed to stay where they were. So we got him through his rookie deal and through his next deal. So we have some time. So I'm a little worried about Spurs fans not having patience going into this next season and wanting it to be shooting for a 4 or 5 seed, which I think is unrealistic. I think a play-in is a realistic goal, but I wouldn't consider next season a failure for the Spurs if they fail to do it.
No, I agree, but I think realistically you can expect a 10 to 12 game improvement off a 22 win record.
We'll see.
So, 37, 38, even 40 wins could possibly get him in that 7th or 8th seed.
We'll see. I mean, more, and then all the stuff else in the draft. If you had money to put on an Olympic basketball team, I would be putting some money on France. France had 3 of the top 6 picks in this draft, and they have Wemby.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd sleep on this French team. I mean, maybe this year, but not in 2028. I'd put some long money on France to win the gold medal in 2028.
Yeah, I mean, the French league is really, France in general is really putting out some players that are kind of piquing the interest of a lot of NBA teams. But, more and more now you're seeing it become an international game.
Mm-hmm.
I can see the NBA. I think they're doing it this year. Maybe I'm wrong. But aren't they playing a couple games overseas this year too, I believe?
Well, yeah, they played China last year. And so, I mean, they are definitely trying to and probably have a much bigger international draw than the other sports that we try to export.
Other than probably football, which is starting to make inroads. But, not everybody plays football, but basketball is pretty much a universally, like soccer, it's pretty much a universal sport.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited about the Spurs. Bob, you think Pop will be around to see the fruition of his hard labor?
I don't know. I mean, at least as an advisor.
Yeah, I mean, he's still going strong.
So other news in the NBA, you see that Jonte Porter is going to be getting some federal felony charges.
Describe his situation for everybody and what's...
Well, he was the dude that laid prop bets on himself.
Is that the Toronto guy, right?
That's the Toronto guy.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to have to start, we've talked about it. It's going to be a problem in all these sports now with... the influx in, the NBA, the Major League Baseball, NFL. Let's face it, they've embraced the gambling aspect of what's going on in sports. And part of that fallout is going to be players making life-changing poor decisions.
I mean, all these sports can do is give them resources to help out when they find themselves quote unquote in over his head due to a gambling addiction, which is his lawyer's exact words. And if they avail themselves of those resources, great. If they don't, get out.
Yeah.
Get out. And I don't understand why it is this hard for us to understand this and why it is this hard for the players to understand this. We've had sports betting in Europe. We've had sports betting in Asia for years. And yes, they've gone through their gambling scandal stuff, and it pops up, and it will continue to pop up every now and then because people are people, but they figured out a way to do it and not have people get into major problems. So
yeah, hopefully they'll figure this out. But I think probably every year there's going to be some kind of scandal breaking. But like we said on the last show, you really have to, you really got to take draconian measures and just let the players know that when this happens, your career is basically over with.
People gonna people.
Yeah.
So.
Well, two great people passed away when I was in sunny South Florida that, I'd like to mention because they really were changers in the professions they played. Jerry West passed away.
Yep.
And that was pretty silent. I didn't really hear much about the funeral or anything, but for all you young kids, if you look at that logo on your NBA uniforms, that is the logo of Jerry West. And then a personal idol of mine, this was the number I wore when I was a kid because I just loved the guy, and he was just like a mythical legend when I was 4 or 5, and I remember the over-the-shoulder catch and the basket catch. The great Willie Mays passed away.
Yep. And I heard one comment from someone who was relating an interview with him. They said, Willie didn't consider that, or Mr. Mays didn't consider that to be the best catch he ever made. The best catch he ever made was a game that wasn't televised, wasn't recorded. Nobody was there. It was in the middle of the season. But the moment of that catch is what made that catch so iconic. But just like a few other people have called this out, all the people that were calling it, quote unquote, the catch need to check themselves at the door, because that is not the catch. Sorry, guys. The catch is Joe Montana to Dwight Clark. That's the catch.
Well,
anyway,
Willie had the original catch.
It was a very good catch. It was a very good catch. And
you just can't help poking it to the Cowboys, can you?
No, I can't. No, I can't. But, I love it. I mean, you want to talk about Cowboys news, which is basically nothing. They haven't done anything. They haven't paid anybody. They haven't signed anybody. They've done nothing.
Yeah, I think Jerry's probably going to be in full blow-up mode next year. He's just going to burn down the house, and they got a lot of work to do. They got issues.
I don't understand why they haven't done it earlier. So the other, going back to the NBA, Celtics win a title and go on the block to be sold.
I saw that. I can't even imagine the asking price.
Well, I think the majority ownership, they're looking at a $4 or $5 billion payday for their interest. And I think that's a $4 or $5 billion profit on their investment.
That is billion.
What's interesting, I think the stat that I saw was that the ownership interest that is being sold, when it was bought for less money than Tatum's contract.
Isn't that something?
That is crazy.
Yeah, I think Jerry and his dad said you're absolutely insane. But when Jones bought the Cowboys, I think it was for I don't know, you have to look it up. It was something silly, $75 million or.
No, it wasn't that cheap.
It was pretty cheap. I know his dad said, I can't believe you're wasting this money.
I would have thought it would have been in the hundreds of millions.
He was
150.
150. Okay. Well, by today's standards, that's a 3-year contract.
Well, 150 and 89. I don't know what that is inflation adjusted, but currently, according to Forbes, the team is currently valued at $9 billion. That's a billion with a B, folks.
Say what you will about Jerry Jones, but he got a good return on his investment.
Yeah.
Just the players didn't.
So in other news of contracts, Bronny signs his 4-year rookie deal. His dad signs his 2 years max contract.
Would Bronny would he maybe as a free agent, but let's face facts, Bronny probably wouldn't even be in the NBA right now. If it wasn't for Daddy.
I'm listening to some very interesting.
Bronny ain't that good.
You can say what you want, but I know there are analysts that I trust who are saying that it may end up being a sneaky good pick. Now he's got a lot of development to do, but any 55 pick is going to have a lot of development to do.
There's a lot of development to do. That's why a lot of guys play in the G League. But for the Lakers, it's a marketing. It's all marketing.
It's a little bit of a marketing deal, and
which is smart. Whatever.
Yeah,
the Lakers aren't going anywhere.
It's the reason why that guy sent the. I was going to say the M word, which you're not allowed to use. The little person back in the late 40s in baseball sent it to the plate. The
midget.
You're not allowed to use that word. That's offensive. And I don't think it was a dwarf, because dwarfs are very specific. Anyway, very, very, very short person.
So think how offensive it was. I used to play in the midget leagues when I was a kid. Remember the midget league?
Yeah. I shopped in the Husky section, or my mom shopped in the Husky section, and I was forever embarrassed.
So, how long do you think it would take LeBron to get this coach fired? What's the over/under?
I predict that JJ Redick lasts longer with the Lakers than LeBron does. LeBron exits the Lakers before J.J. Redick exits the Lakers.
You heard it first from Brother Bob. So you think he's going to stick around for a while?
I do. I mean, I think it's
so.
2 years. 2 years for LeBron, and I think any ownership staff would be stupid to get rid of a rookie coach, and this is his first coaching. Get rid of a rookie coach after the first season, so he's going to get at least 2.
What if they start off like 3-15 and just totally wet the bed? And
let's be frank here with the Nuggets, with the Mavericks, with the Thunder. Do you think they're one of the top 4 teams in the Western Conference?
The Lakers?
No, yeah, the Lakers.
No.
Yeah. So if they go out and start 3-15, okay. Okay.
Well, it should be fun. It should be interesting.
Yeah. Let's see. Going over to NFL news, we're starting up with OTAs and camps and getting ready.
It's been a fairly quiet summer so far in the NFL.
Except for Aaron Rodgers.
Oh yeah, Aaron, did he ever show up? I know that he was.
He did show up.
He was kind of like, I got things to do, man. I got a quiet space to go to, and
God.
I know he was being fined.
Of course, he's going to be fined.
Yeah, not a real good. I don't know. You got all that off season to do whatever you do, and then you don't show up for mandatories.
Yeah. Hey, you know who's winning? Bill Belichick. His girlfriend, 24 years old.
That's ridiculous.
I don't know.
I'm sorry. I'm 58, and a 24-year-old. I'm 58.
Well, I mean,
what in God's green earth am I going to talk to a 24-year-old about?
So she's got to be a really mature 24.
They said she's an old soul.
And he's got to be a really immature 74-year-old.
Or he's got to be really rich and she likes money.
Yeah, well, that's... Yeah,
I did find the more money I make, the better looking I get. I don't know how that works. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. So that's about it. I mean, baseball, we're slowly coming up to the All-Star game and the All-Star break. Aaron Judge is on a tear.
Yeah,
again.
He's only 2 other players, former Yankees, have done what he's done. What is it, 30 home runs in the last 50 games? Or
well, it was and then he had 31 before July. Now, he played in more games than Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth is the only other player to do that feat. I know Maris didn't get on his tear until later into the season.
I really wish he could go on and erase the steroid asterisk-ridden Barry Bonds home run record. That'd be cool.
Yeah. I mean, that would...
legitimate record.
That would... Interesting if I was seeing the stats. Right now, Aaron Judge is tracking for the Triple Crown right now, leads in batting average, RBIs, and home runs. Shohei Ohtani leads in batting average, home runs, and he's 3rd in RBIs. We have the possibility of 2 Triple Crown winners.
What was the last one?
The last one was Miguel Cabrera in 06-ish.
He had a triple in the AL. Is it Stody Skrimsky?
Yeah, it's something like that.
That was like 69. Yeah. And Cabrera was at NL, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a while. Have you had a chance to watch the most exciting player in baseball, though? My Ellie De La Cruz?
No.
If you ever get a chance, pull up the highlights.
No, I want to watch the 6-foot, oh my God guy from Pittsburgh, Skeen, who looks like a throwback to like sarsaparilla days.
With the porn mustache.
Yeah.
I mean, he does have that old school kind of 70s Pittsburgh Pirates look. Guys, give me your opinion on this. And I want yours too, Bob, now that you mentioned that. I go back on YouTube and watch a lot of old baseball games, and I just wish for 1 year Major League Baseball would have every team wear for the entire season, except for if you got something going on, but for at home where they're like original 1975 jerseys.
Okay.
Wouldn't that be cool?
I mean, they do it every now and then.
But I love the old jersey. Yeah. The Pirates jersey with the silly striped cap and
yeah. Okay, I did find it. Going back to the Triple Crown, Miguel Cabrera, the last player to do it in 2012. Before that, Carl Yastrzemski in 67. Those are both in the American League. Last time it was done in the National League, you weren't even alive. 1937, Joe Medwick for the St. Louis Cardinals hit 31 home runs, 154 RBIs, and batted .374.
It was a year before my mother was born. So, yes, I was not alive.
Yeah.
Well, Bob, we'll just keep it short and sweet today. I think we covered everything.
Let's see. Yeah, I suppose. Are you excited for the Olympics?
I guess as excited as one could be. Wimbledon's playing.
Wimbledon is going on.
Watch a little bit of that. So,
have you been watching any of the Henley Royal Regatta?
Have not.
Do you even know what I'm talking about?
Do not.
Okay, it's rowing on the Thames. Henley on the Thames. Okay.
What?
Yeah.
Actually, I guess that'd be pretty cool. I think I've seen it.
Yeah, it's interesting in an international competition as one of the very, very few international level head-to-heads. So you basically 2 boats on the water, one advances, one goes home. 7 days.
See, to me, rowing, curling, WNBA, to me, all that's kind of like reggae music. I like it for about 10, 15 minutes. I'm like, okay, time to move on.
It's one of those things where I like to think I understand some of the intricacies of it and some of the artistry of it and some of the inner workings of it. So therefore I appreciate it more. So I watch it as opposed to the WNBA, as opposed to soccer. I actually watched USA v Uruguay the other night. And quite frankly, these were amazing athletes doing amazing things. I was bored out of my skull.
It leads me to another point, something totally different. When I was in sunny South Florida, 15 minutes from my parents' house, I got to watch, didn't go to the game, but I watched on TV, Game 7 of the NHL Florida Panthers. That was a great series.
That was a great series.
I did watch the hockey.
That was
good stuff.
That was a great series. And was it Dubrovsky is the goalie for the Panthers?
Yeah.
I mean, he got pantsed in games 4, 5, and 6. And he was the reason they won that Game 7. I mean, the one thing that impressed me about Game 7 was it looked to me like Edmonton had a whole lot more pressure applied on the Panther defense. And if it hadn't been for Dubrovsky really standing on his head, they lose that game.
No, he stepped up. And then what was really cool is I had been to downtown. I'd been to the beach the day before.
Mm-hmm.
There's it's still around. Was built 100 years ago. It's surrounded by all new stuff. A place called the Elbow Room. It's an iconic bar restaurant in South Florida. I was there the day before. The next day, a bunch of the Panthers had partied all night. That's one of their favorite places to hang out.
Okay.
They went down there, partied with the fans at like 9 in the morning.
Okay.
And they're taking the Stanley Cup and they're dumping beer on the fans.
I saw that. Yeah.
If you can pull up the pictures, I was like, oh God, how much fun that would have been.
So what would you eat or drink out of the Stanley Cup?
Whatever they want to serve me out of it, man. It's a Stanley Cup.
I watched one of the guys. It looked like he was just having cereal out of the Stanley Cup.
I think
that is one of the things. Say what you want about hockey, and I have a lot of friends who don't like hockey, but my God, those guys, the guys that play hockey are cool.
They're cool, and they relate to the fans because I was reading in the paper when the Heat won their championship, whenever it was, all the players rented out some private room in some high-end Miami club. And what do the Panthers do? Those boys go down to the beach and party at a little dive bar with the fans. So, congratulations to the Panthers. Super cool, super nice guys. And what an exciting series for a guy that don't watch a lot of regular season hockey, man. I was truly enthralled and on the edge of my seat for that Game 7. So that was good stuff.
Interesting enough, I was just looking this up. And do you know the average NHL salary?
I'm going to say probably 265,000.
No. Higher than that. 3.5 million a year.
Oh,
But
those guys earn every penny of it.
oh my God.
I mean, they're beating the shit out of each other for, 60 minutes.
Average salary, NBA, 9.6.
Yeah.
9.6. Anyway.
But you got to follow the money.
Yep, absolutely.
The salaries will go. All right, Bob, we'll see you next week, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Again, leave your comments in our comment section. Hit that like and subscribe button. That really helps us out, helps with the channel. We don't do this for money. We do it because we enjoy talking and talking sports with y'all. Until next week, OH.
Peace out.
I hope.